مش قادر مش قادر والله مش قادر ده المكتوب وين عشان
شو جاي تسوي بك اليوم؟ We're going to close this door. So that people don't come in the back. Or ring the bell sometimes.
Yeah. لا لا رد
مايك تشيك شباب.
مايك تشيك يلا.
مايك تشيك يلا. على العافية يا شباب، كل شيء تمام؟ مسموع الكل. سنان اي بي. سنان مايك تشيك.
نفتحه قبل انا مش راح اقدر لان عندي كمان
عربية مايك تشيك.
عاملين
مايك تشيك مايك تشيك مايك تشيك.
اوكي خلاص حطهم يكبروا محمود ندخل وناخذ صورتنا وايد من هون ونطلع. بعدين ياخذوا الفيديو محفظ من ساعتين نص ساعة ويكتب ما بدهم. سيداتي أنساتي سادتي 1 1 2 2 3 4 5 ونص. أمير كل شيء تمام الصوت؟ واحد انت رامي حطه فوق احسن لك هون عشان قلنا لك اياه هيك تمام. مش شغال. انت كيف تفحص صوت المطفي؟ أمير شو وضعك؟ تمام الصوت؟ خلص شو إلي في البال؟ لا كله مهم.
I didn't see you, I'm sorry, it's just been a blur.
نحن لو قلنا هالقرب ما نعمل فيها، نحن عم نعمل القرب هاي
It's been 3 weeks. لازم بقى نسبة بابا مصطفى اسأل في بيان درجة بالعربي؟
ظروف لو سمحت شوية.
Yeah, well, nice to see you. I might come back. I don't want to. I think this is going to go on for. It's really hard. It's not a Palestinian sport. Right? This was much more fragile. They were permanently fragile factors. Well, you really need to take a break. Do you have other people? Yeah. Well, you live here. The thing is, they've been giving us like 14, 15, 16 days. For not feeling worth it. 3 weeks. Yeah, you should take a break. Nice to see you. People are very interested. Is that it's UAE, right? Oh no, UAE, yeah. I really like
One, two, one, two.
I came in on it. My flight.
Ready?
Hi.
Okay, good morning everyone. I'm introducing the yes, sorry. Introducing the Under Commissioner General Philippe Lazzarini for a few words. And thank you for coming, and very sorry we were a little bit late.
Yeah.
Commissioner, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming this morning. You here?
Yes.
Okay. You hear me?
Yeah.
It's good? Can we stop the phone or the now?
Can we close the door? There's
Oh.
no longer going. Thanks.
Okay. So, good morning. As we speak, people in Gaza are dying. They are not only dying from bombs and strike. Soon, many more will die from the consequences of siege imposed on the Gaza Strip. Basic services are crumbling. Medicine is running out. Food and water are running out. The streets of Gaza have started overflowing with sewage. Gaza is on the brink of a massive health hazard as the risk of diseases are looming. A few days ago, I warned that we will not be able to continue our humanitarian operation if we do not get the fuel supply. My warning still stands. Over the last few days, UNRWA has drastically limited its consumption of fuel, but this came at a cost. Our team had to make tough decisions that no humanitarian workers should do. What needs more support? Bakeries, water station, life support machine in a hospital, all this needs fuel to function. The siege means that food, water and fuel, all basic commodities, are being used to collectively punish more than 2 million people, among them a majority of children and women. There have been intense negotiations and endless shuttle diplomacy to open a humanitarian supply line. So far, it has only resulted in a handful of aid convoys. This will not reverse the fact that Gaza is being strangled. The people of Gaza feel shunned, alienated, and abandoned. Over the last week, I followed very closely the focus about the number of trucks entering in Gaza. Many of us saw in these trucks a glimmer of hope. This is, however, becoming a distraction. These few trucks are nothing more than a crumbs that will not make a difference for the 2 million people in the street. We should avoid conveying the message that few trucks a day means the siege is lifted for humanitarian aid. This is not true. The current system in place is geared to fail. What is needed is meaningful and uninterrupted aid flow. And to succeed, we need a humanitarian ceasefire to ensure this aid reaches those in need. This should not be too much to ask. Civilians are already paid a staggering price. More than 1 million people displaced, entire neighborhood flattened, thousands killed, thousands more injured, with almost no access to hospitals anymore. And all this under our daily and constant watch. Every day is also becoming a sad day for the United Nations and UNRWA, as the number of our colleagues killed is increasing. Today, at least 57 colleagues of mine are confirmed killed. In one day, we had confirmation that 15 were killed. And these are mothers, fathers, wonderful people who have just dedicated their life to their communities. And if they were not in Gaza, they could have been your neighbor. One of our colleagues 2 days ago died while he was going to the bakery to pick bread. He left 6 children behind, 6 displaced children in shelter. And meanwhile, we have thousands of UNRWA colleagues who, despite the fact they share the same loss, fear and daily struggle of millions of Gazans, put on the UN vest and go to work. They are, for me, the true heroes. Our teams are also the ones going to the border late at night with these few trucks. And after having waited for a day to get approval and clearances until it is completed. And they carry boxes, offload, download trucks in the dark while bombardment and aerial strikes are taking place. My colleagues are the face of humanity during what I would describe one of the darkest hours. But you know, they also absorb the anxiety and the anger of all those displaced in UNRWA shelter. They are taking, my colleagues, the heat as the community, understandably, are angry, hungry, and frustrated. We are almost 3 weeks in this war, and people are turning their despair to UNRWA. This is normal. We are the face of the international community, the same international community which seems to have turned its back to the Gazan. And it pains me that humanitarian aid, a very basic right for people, is constantly questioned, while at the same time despair is live-streamed under our watch. My colleagues in Gaza report that the last remaining public services are collapsing. Our aid operation is crumbling, and for the first time ever, they report that now people are hungry. Civil order is collapsing, and anger starts to be channeled towards my colleagues. How long can we last? I don't know, but certainly no more than a few days. Let me also say that many argue that aid cannot enter because of aid diversion. Let me be clear. We have solid monitoring mechanism. UNRWA is a direct provider of assistance to people in need. All our vendors and partners are vetted against the sanction list. We give aid to those who need it most. Our convoys are notified and deconflicted. UNRWA does not and will not divert any humanitarian aid into the wrong hands. Finally, you have heard our calls and repeated calls for the rule of wars to be applied to this war too. It means to apply the international humanitarian law means the application of the principle of proportionality and distinction. Civilians have to be spared. Hospitals, schools, UN premises hosting hundreds of thousands of displaced people seeking safety have to be respected. To do so, we need also, and here I think, for me it's an important point, we need also to see the human face of Gazan civilian. To equal Gaza with Hamas is a very dangerous and misleading. It is an equation aimed at dehumanizing people, aimed at making the unjustifiable justifiable. Keeping our humanity means showing that the people in Gaza deserve our empathy and our compassion. No one can claim I did not know, as images, footages, and voices of unspeakable suffering continue to come out by the hour from Gaza. We cannot anymore turn a blind eye to this human tragedy. Millions of people are asking, especially in this region, especially in Gaza, why does the world not have the will to act and put an end to this hell on earth? They deserve an answer. Delaying it will deepen the polarization in this region and increase the risk of spillover. Finally, as Commissioner General, I intend to visit Gaza to express solidarity and amplify the voices of the communities and of our staff. Gaza is the place where I almost started my career 30 years ago, and this is where I feel I need to be. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take 3 questions only. Introduce yourself, please.
Ines Doikatera from ABC News. On this issue of fuel, can you tell us how much fuel you still have in reserve? Can you also confirm the IDF's claims that Hamas has close to 500,000 liters of fuel? Are you in touch with Hamas to get some of their fuel? And then separately, what's your reaction to
3 questions.
Like one question, because there's others.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fuel issue. How many liters of fuel do you have in reserve, and this Hamas issue of fuel?
As far as UNRWA is concerned, we have fuel for today. Now, there is a place where there is fuel, which was a fuel based on the agreement between Israel and Qatar, fuel being brought in by Egypt. I guess you are referring to this fuel. If we have access to this fuel, we will have access only through deconfliction with Israel. There might be some fuel available that would bring us for 1 or 2 more days. The quantity of fuel we need for the operation I indicated before is 160,000 liters a day to supply our partners, the hospitals, the bakeries, and for our own operation.
Yes, please.
John Reid from the Financial Times. Thank you for the briefing. A quick question about the casualty numbers in Gaza, because it's become such an international talking point. From the UN's point of view, in past conflicts, and I think this is the 5th one in
Yes.
less than 2 decades, have the death numbers that Palestinian health officials in the Gaza Strip came up with proved reliable after the conflict, and the UN looked at them?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Indeed, in the past, the 5-6 cycle of a conflict in the Gaza Strip, these figures were considered as credible, and no one ever really challenged these figures. Maybe the second point here, we made a correlation between the number of staff killed compared to the number of staff that we have, and the number of staff announced killed within the population and the total population, and we have more or less the same percentage.
Yes, the guy in the back with the black t-shirt. Yes, Ben.
First of all, completely understanding the challenges that the UN and UNRWA has working with de facto authorities in places where the authorities are not internationally recognised. Having said that, the Israelis have made a very specific claim, which is that there's at least 500,000 to 1 million litres of fuel that is held by Hamas. And more than that, they said that fuel has been stolen from UNRWA. And I just really like to push you to address that, because at the moment that accusation is standing, because I've not heard
So
and it would just be good to get a specific response on that.
So your first question is similar to the first question. I don't know what Hamas has or does not have in the Gaza Strip. I hear claims 6 weeks of supply and so on. I have absolutely no idea. What I know is that in the depot where Qatar and Israel agreed to bring fuel in the Gaza Strip from Egypt, there is some fuel. Is it 200, 300, 400,000 liters still remaining? I do not know. If we have access to this fuel, we are deconflicting with the Israeli, because you cannot send a convoy to this depot without the agreement and the deconfliction.
But it's the Israelis that are blocking the access to the zone because it's not deconflicted.
We,
You're saying that's not deconflicted.
over the last few days, there have been some fuel coming in which have been deconflicted, basically.
But it's all fuel inside Gaza.
So it's all fuel inside Gaza.
Because no fuel has come in. We need to put this on
I'm
record.
not aware of fuel being stolen.
And please mention that
I'm aware of
in.
fuel we have taken in order to keep our operation. But even the fuel, which is the fuel you are referring, most likely, this one is being depleted.
Being stolen
The-
from
it-
from-
No, but
They're saying fuel, I think they did in the
Being
past,
stolen
but I don't
from
think
Iraq.
they're saying necessarily now.
no,
No, not in the past, this is not true.
yeah,
Okay, shall we?
okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.